you Bus fans and your boy Buster 36 Productions here, and today we are gonna react to some buses don't belong here. Lots of lots. Safety Alarm C2. And this was a pretty special video because you'll see in the video, but that means there's gonna be a lot of editing, but I don't judge it. But today we're gonna react to this video tonight. And if you guys are brand new, please smack that subscribe button and hit that bell to notify for notifications. And I apologize for inconvenience for the last video that I burned some buses. So don't try that at home also. But I'm not going to talk about what I did in the previous video, but stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be doing for Flocker reviews on my own photos pretty soon. So there will be more coming soon on this Friday, I think, so hopefully. But, you know, whatever, it is what it is. Anyways, no more talking, more making this video more long. Let's get this into the video.
What's happening, guys? Safety Liner C2 here. Lots of lots. There's two that I'm going to show off. Don't forget that if you have something that you want to submit for lots of lots, bust up for sale, the picture videos, or any one of my videos, you can do it in the video request form found in the description of any one of my videos. So the first lot we're going to take a real quick look at brings us to Kaneohe, Hawaii. This lot was submitted by Carl.
Hawaii.
First off, we can see a bunch of Minotaurs that are handicapped. We have this single non-handicapped Minotaur. Notice that this one is older based off of the taillights, and then it also doesn't have a white roof. Then we have two columns. This one is weird. Handicapped. This one is
not. What it is, but yeah, that's kind of weird because it's actually in Hawaii. Like, I never heard school buses coming from Hawaii, United States. I never heard such thing as a school bus that comes from Hawaii, which is pretty rare, I guess. Which is kind of interesting to see.
There's an HDX right here, an ICRE, and then 5 CEs. Notice that this one on the end does have a strobe light while the others don't. Notice that on these two Minotaurs we have single rear stop signs indicating that these could have been California buses before. I'm not extremely familiar with Hawaii state specs. As far as I know, California is the only place that allows this, and I don't think I've ever seen any other Hawaii bus do this before, so I'm not exactly sure how they're getting away with this. Finally, a closer look at the CE on the end here with the strobe light. We also have a full streamer and a flippable school bus sign for trips. So I'm willing to bet that this one was originally from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
You can see that there was some sort of lettering on here before, that you can see the shadowing. But these three specs are just really screaming Pennsylvania, and I would not be surprised if they bought this bus used. So those California, Hawaii buses, whatever we want to call them, those are really throwing me off. I need to definitely look more into that. But otherwise, Hawaii does have a lot of really interesting specs in some places, like with red rub rails and red around the warning lights. And we'll have to dive more into
Okay. Don't mind my explaining, but I'm not gonna spoil anything. Let's continue. Not gonna spoil anything
in a separate video. The other lot I want to show you came from that one bus.
Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, finally, after months. So, you guys, basically, I did this suggestion for lots and lots in this video, and I know we did do a bus yard video back in August of 2023, and we actually took a look at First Student in Airdrie, Alberta, which is really crazy. And I was thinking, since there's so many types of buses from the United States, since I'm pretty sure that well, I'll talk about it later, but this is so awesome because I actually suggest this bus yard from Airdrie, which I did do a bus yard back in August, which is pretty awesome. I love it. Like, oh my gosh, shout out to Safety Liner C2, man, because man, he's the GOAT, man.
Bus Driver 36 production.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
We have a C.
I suggested this company in Airdrie 2021.
C2, Corbe 3800, some more C2s. We have a Bluebird 3800, some CEs, Corbe and Bluebird 3800.
Yeah, you can see they're just regular Canadian school buses, of course. But, man, this stuff is gonna, well, later in this video is gonna get really interesting and really confusing at the same time.
And some more CEs. We have 2 CEs and 5 C2s.
Yeah, those are just regular CEs. Those are just regular, I think these are regular CEs.
There's some CEs and a Corbe 3800, 3 Collins Chevys. Here we have a C2, a Collins, another C2, and a Vision.
And a random hood that's randomly sitting in the yard. There's a random CE hood in the middle of the yard.
Going back to August.
And this is how it gets interesting. So you can see how much this bus doesn't look like a typical CE model. Because basically, this bus right here was there before. This was a reused bus, a reused first student unit from California. So there's an obvious one because of the hood change onto the thing on top of the thing, right onto the top of the door. It actually got paint jobbed, plus the actual the little visors, which makes it more obvious it's a California spec. Let me give you an example. So you guys, this is a Canadian, this is probably a California spec. This is a California spec unit. And yeah, you can see this one's a California spec. It's not really hard to compare. Well, it looks kind of like a normal spec, but this is actually, the truth is, this bus was actually originated in California. I'll give you another one. Okay, here's another example also. And there's also, it's not really like 100% this is an example. This is a California spec CE. And this time this has a emergency driver's side door, emergency driver door on there. And you can tell it's a California spec is the stop sign in the back. So yeah, it is kind of interesting and pretty confusing for him that actually choose this little yard that actually has a lot of buses that were transferred from the US from California or out in the US. And also, there was one time there was a C2 was actually been transferred to from Alaska, which is pretty crazy though. There's a lot of buses that actually been transferred from across America, from other first doing companies from out in the States. But I don't want to talk too much. Let's get back to the reaction.
Back to August 2019. Take a look at this CE. It doesn't appear that it was an original Canadian bus because of the lack of black around the warning lights.
Exactly.
To add to that, this one also has warning light visors.
It's California spec.
I'm not sure where this bus would have come from, but you can see that this is a first student lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if this came from somewhere in the US. We're in September 24th.
Oh, I'm smiling. Oh, I'm smiling in this video. But you can see there's more. There's actually just a couple buses in New York that actually were coming from, not from the Canadian, but also from out in the States. Which is pretty unusual for first student to do that. But, it was normal back in the mid 20. They do this to this day, kind of, but they don't do that more often. And they just purchase more, regular Canadian spec.
2014 now. The years throughout show mostly the same stuff, but we have a Corbe 3800 down here. 2 FS65s
and
a
CE,
a C2, and another Corbe 3800 in the background. June 2009 is surprisingly not potato quality. We have a Corbe 3800.
Exactly.
First look at one of the CV200s and another Bluebird 3800, a Shorty FS65, some more Corbe 3800s, another CV200. We're further down in the lot. Back in April 2023, we have 3 C2s and a CE, pretty much CE.
More like a rows of reused CEs from a different company. But also, fun fact, I actually want to give you where these buses come from. Like, actually, fun fact, these actual buses right here were actually So these buses were transferred from Bruce, Idaho. Actually, fun fact: these buses that he's looking at, these are from Idaho, from Boris, Idaho, from another first student company from Idaho. So, yeah, it was kind of obvious for this bus to be, transferred to a company, and it looks obvious because of its, emergency exits and the way it's reflective tape, and beyond that. Alright, we're gonna go back and watch it again. We're gonna continue doing this stuff, but man, there's a lot of interesting buses that first student purchased over the time since in a while.
Much CEs here with a few C2s. Then we have 2 more CEs. This front one is handicapped and throwing me off a little bit again because of the lack of black around the warning lights.
Yeah, I think this is I think this one's I believe that's a California spec, and there's an Idaho spec too, which is pretty awesome. There's actually pretty much there's a lot of first student buses that were transferred from other companies from out in the States, but it is kind of making it flopped up and kind of confusing. But it is what it is.
And now take a look at this CE, again specifically around the warning lights. We can see that this was obviously repainted. I can't imagine the factory would have sent it out like that.
Or, the way that, yeah, I would kind of agree with it. It's kind of interesting. Like, they basically just repainted the whole thing, replaced it, like, what it used to be, like, the right roof, they just repainted it. Like, and then just the rest of the body's just faded. Straight up faded.
We can see first student shadowing right here, as well as some other shadows around the bus.
Unless it was just been transferred, I would say, if it wasn't, it said first student, if it wasn't, first of all, it could be transferred, or 2, it could retire, in my theory, for these buses. 1, it could be from, just got transferred, or, was retired. That's my theory for these buses right here that are just sitting, these kind of buses right in the screen.
So I'm not really sure what's up with that one. August 2019, a CE.
A CE and a Corby.
Some Corby 3800s and an FS65. We also have an actual G5 branded G5. And I've always loved this option where the black back here kind of wraps around the tail lights. I think that looks really well if the specs are right. There's a handicapped Minnow Tour right here and another Corby. Both are Fords. September 2014 shows us a few more CV200s, a Bluebird 3800, CV200, and FS65. August 2012, we can see a mix of Bluebird and Corby.
Oh, things are going to get awesome.
This one looks kind of weird without the black
you're gonna wait
and
the warning
lights and lack of warning light visors on the back. There's also a Thomas 3800 right here. I believe that's the first one I've seen. Then take a look at this.
Yes! This is unusual. This is an unusual bus. Like, I said it back in August. I made it back in August. But this is the most unusual bus that first student bought.
It's beautiful. Probably one of the better looking first
I
student buses I've seen. Bluebird 3800, tinted windows, black window posts,
tinted windows, all that. That's all the good stuff.
Individual warning light covers, black hood, and I'm kind of getting the vibe that this was originally a New England bus, maybe from Connecticut or Massachusetts based off of the specs. This is kind of an oddball because of specifically the individual warning light covers and the tinted windows and black window posts. That just doesn't fit in with, I don't think, any other Canadian spec that I've seen. And finally, rounding it off, June 2009, a Bluebird 3800 and CV200. Another CV200 with a front
now it's going to go into
lift.
old buses.
And this appears to be a Ford B700.
Yep. Yeah, I guess it's going, like, back in 2009, they didn't have all the cool new buses at the time. They had, like, really old buses.
Could be a CV200, but it really looks like a B700 to me. And, of course, some more Bluebird, Thomas, and Corby's. Notice specifically this one right here has the 4-ways instead of 8-ways like all the others. So seeing some of those buses in there raises the question, can first student bring U.S. buses into Canada or Canada into the U.S.?
Yeah, that's a really good question because it's kind of confusing. Like, first doing in Canada, like actually the company that was actually operate from Cardinals first doing in Canada started purchasing California specs since the 2000s, roughly in the late since mid 2000s. Like we're using every single California specs, but over time in other states they would transfer other buses, which is pretty unusual. It's a pretty unusual company just transferring buses from another company. It's pretty unusual. Like yeah, I could research all of that, but if you guys if you want me to go check out some buses on the if you want me to look it up on Wiki, let me in the comments below. And I'm gonna hang out this video and I'm gonna be doing some other stuff. If you guys are new, please smash that like button, and I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction to Safety IC 2, and also shout out to him from finally accepting the suggestions for the lots of lots video, which that was really really awesome. But I think I'm just gonna wrap this video. So I hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.